Compton United started in 2006, understanding a need that there's a lot of kids in urban communities that play soccer, that love soccer, that have a passion for soccer, but they're not really in the system that allows them to keep going. Really what that means in Southern California is club soccer is too expensive for urban kids, and so essentially they're locked out of the U.S. soccer system. And we have an example of Ramiro Caldera, who is, I knew when he was 5, and he came in our youth development center that my wife and I worked in, and great kid, tremendous athlete. Anything he did, he was really good at. Great student. He did very well in high school. He played high school soccer. Their last 2 years, they did very well, and he really had the passion to play college soccer. But at that time, especially, the coaches are worried about selling candy to raise money for jerseys, and they're not thinking about, college recruitment or trying to get their players to the next level. It's just really survival. And I began to understand that and wonder, how is Ramiro going to go to the next level? How is he going to play college soccer? And began to ask a lot of questions and kind of do some research on our own, and realize that here you have to play club soccer if you even are interested in playing college soccer. Working with Ramiro and trying to get him into college somewhere, that kind of coincided with us figuring out that we should maybe start a soccer club. I'm an American footballer and a wrestler, so I didn't know a whole lot about soccer, so I just tried to stay a little bit ahead of the guys. But I did know nonprofits, and so figuring that out and combining the two and getting some other soccer people to work along with us that can develop some coaching styles and develop our own way of doing things was amazing. I think I kind of had a build it and they will come mentality, but it's been a little struggle to kind of bring the club system into a community that is not used to that. And so we decided to do soccer, but not just for the sake of soccer. It's for the sake of developing these leaders, developing these guys to be good husbands, be good fathers, be good college students, be community representatives in a positive way. And when we first started talking to kids, they're like, what are you talking about my grades for? This is soccer, this is not school. But as we developed our 5 stages of development, starting with athletic, and soccer being the hook, and then academic, they have to have a 2.5 GPA to play with us. And then character, we want them to be great players on, but also off the field. We want them to be able to pick up after themselves. We want them to be able to treat each other and themselves right. And then leadership development, which includes our Crash Elite program, where we have professional players developing some of the leaders on the team, mentoring them and working with them in soccer, but also having a meal with them once a week. And so over a dinner, I could tell them about getting good grades, their parents could tell them about getting good grades, but when Justin Braun from Chivas USA is telling them that they need to get grades, it's a little different. It's a different context. And then taking that a step farther for leadership and community development and developing soccer fields. There's not one soccer field in the city of Compton right now. Developing jobs so that these kids, when they play on weekends, they can make the games, because a lot of times they're helping their parents pay rent. We've always had a dream in the context of our leadership development to take these kids out of the country, traveling domestically, but also places that they're so different they're not used to really take them out of their comfort zone. And World Cup coming up in 2010, it was always a dream, like, man, wouldn't it be great if we could take some of these to South Africa? So it was always kind of back there. And then about a year ago, maybe a year and a half before the World Cup started, I began kind of researching what's already existing there, what's happening. And we didn't really want to have to create our own thing, find our own housing, find transportation. That was a lot of stuff that we didn't know how to do. But through our connections with Athletes in Action, as I'm on staff with that, and then with the staff that are in South Africa, we were made aware of this tournament called the Hope Cup International Youth Tournament. And that's going on in conjunction with the World Cup. No direct ties, but it's just a way of getting a lot of youth from different parts of the world together to understand that, hey, we're kids, we're from different parts, but we're the same. And I might look real different from you, I might eat something real different from what you eat, but in essence, we really are the same. And many of these kids have grown up in generational poverty, and they understand some depths of what that looks like. But going to a third world country like South Africa, and one of the things we'll be doing is helping an orphanage in South Africa build a soccer field. And when they see where these orphans live and the amount of food they have per day, it's going to help them understand the world in a much broader context. And it's going to help them say, man, I might not get everything I want every time I, want an In-N-Out or, something different. but I'm sure glad I have food, because other people, they may not have this type of food. And then in the context of working with kids from other parts of the country, like we'll be joining some of the South African teams going to the Apartheid Museum in Johannesburg. And then as we share with each other what racism looks like in our country and what we as this generation can do to make it look different. And then some of the fun things like go on safari and see a giraffe and a rhino and lion, something we only see in zoos, but to see that in real life, in real life safari, just gives them a whole different perspective of the world. A lot of these guys, they maybe been to Mexico or maybe up in the mountains, but they have a limited view of what context they really live in. In some cases, they haven't been to the beach and they haven't been up to the mountains. So we're really looking for this trip to be a real eye-opener, not only for them, but for us as well, and understanding the world in a much better way. Now, each one of our players that are selected to go to South Africa have to raise $500. And the whole cost is about $4,000, so that's just a small percentage of what they have to raise. But for some of them, that's relatively easy, and for others, it might as well be $5,000 because it is that hard. And so the parents and the players have been real creative. They're doing parties in their backyard and inviting people, car washes, selling T-shirts and things like that. We want them to say, I'm invested in this. This is part of my trip, and I'm committed to this. Then through corporate relations and other means, and individual donors across, everything across the board, will raise the other amount. But we really want them to take ownership. That's the whole part of this club. It's just not Compton United, that's some name on a wall somewhere. It's them. They are Compton United, and they wear that across their chest. And we're hoping that they learn that the way they act in a Compton United shirt here on the field will spill over to off the field, that they'll treat each other well. They won't use foul language. They'll be able to treat women in positive ways other than some of the things they see on TV. And so it's really using soccer as a tool to help change them and change our community.